warm welcome to all of you in News9 Mediaverse. I'm Kartikeya Sharma and you are watching To The Point. In this edition of To The Point, we are going to talk about a very important development that has taken place. Police on record has said that extortion and threats have increased. Districts in Imphal Valley in violence hit Manipur are witnessing a surge in complaints related to extortion, says State's Additional Home Secretary Maharabam Pradip Singh. He said that the government has information that armed miscreants are masquerading as police commandos and roaming around. Such acts, including demand for extortion and threats, have hampered the efforts that the police have been genuinely making to control the violence in Manipur. Now, the issue is, if this is so in a violence-hit state where 175 people have died, how do you control it? Because the guns have not come back. And when the weapons have not come back, and the people who have taken away the weapons in order to protect their own community have turned criminal and extortionists, then I think something needs to be done. Let us play out those bites and then we get into the debate.
We have arrested 5 persons. We are not saying they are extortionists. That investigation will reveal. Now, when we say arrested 5 persons and you jumping into conclusion that they are extortionists, it's premature. Alright, we have said they're clad in CO uniform, they have armed. We have arrested. Present crisis, the problem in Manipur, the government of Manipur, particularly the state police, is making all-out effort to restore normalcy. However, we are having information of armed miscreants masquerading as CDOs and roaming around in the streets. Such act of the armed miscreants resorting to extortion demand and threat have hampered the effort that the police has been genuinely making, and in this context, the state police has taken up multiple steps to curb the menace. Example are the multiple and the various search operations, joint search operations, setting up of multiple nakas in various strategic routes, and the Manipur police is firmly committed to curbing this menace. And in one of the nakas set up in the Kongba area on the 16th of this month, we have apprehended 5 armed miscreants clad in supposedly CDO uniform or camouflage uniform and with arms. We have report from different valley districts of Manipur about the increased frequency of complaints relating to extortion demand and threat. In this context, the police, like I said before, we've been making multiple steps to curb it, and also take this advantage to appeal to the public to cooperate and support the effort made by Manipur police. And at the same time, we also appeal the public not to believe in information spread out through the social media without proper authentication.
Today's press note is basically to focus on the crimes that has increased over the past 1 month, especially the law and order breakdown in the state, not related to the ethnic clashes. We are seeing there's a spurge in, let us say, complaints of extortion and other crimes, of shootings, random shooting at general public. So we are addressing that concern today, and for that I'm sure we'll have another press conference later on.
I'm going to play out these bites again, but before that I'll introduce you to my guest. I'm joined by Thangmin Lal, Dangul researcher, scholar, National Institute of Educational Planning and Administration. I'm joined by Dr. Ramanand Singh, Associate Professor, Kirumal College, University of Delhi, and Suhas Chakma, Director, Rights and Risk Analysis. In studio, I am joined by my colleague, Brijesh Pandey. Brijesh, for police to say that the extortion cases have gone up, miscreants are masquerading as policemen, and this is the new shade of what has happened in Manipur. Your first thoughts?
Well, I think, he's presented a very scary situation which is on the anvil, because, earlier the impression was that, that the police is not able to control the people, both ethnicities have armed themselves to teeth to protect each other. But with the rising cases of extortion and, miscreants masquerading as policemen, army men and village defense council, I think it changes the whole ballgame completely. And I think, that the time has actually come for the state to crack down. To do a massive crackdown to make sure that these miscreants and these lumpen elements are not in a position to further deteriorate the already tense situation, the strife on Manipur. I think, earlier we were thinking that, the situation is such where these people are, arming themselves to protect each other. But now the situation is also, there's another facet to the entire conversation which has emerged for the police and the additional Home Secretary to come out and say it out in the open. I think this makes their task all the more different, and this should also put pressure on the social, on the civil groups as well. When they demand for release of all those people who are now being arrested by Manipur police.
Okay, Mr. Suhas, your opening comments on this, for police to come out and say it. What do you make of it? Why did police need to say it? Because the press conferences are not taking place daily, but when they did the press conference, it was pretty surprising for them to say that the extortion cases have gone up, threats are being made. What does it say in context of conflict?
No, I think these have been continuing for a long time. People don't want to speak about it on record, but please remember, prior to the start of the ethnic conflicts across the Imphal Valley, including from the security forces, the insurgent groups based in the valley collect taxes like all other parts of the northeast where insurgent groups are prevalent. And everybody knows that's the business where you can earn a lot of money. And you have 5,000 arms which have been stolen, given up whatsoever, along with 500,000 ammunitions. It's very natural that, this extortion had to come out in the open. And in some places, of course, it's very natural for some miscreants to be caught. Please don't be surprised that in certain other instance, that some of the law enforcement officials might themselves be involved. It's not only specific to Manipur, everywhere. Please remember, whenever this kind of conflicts take place, the law enforcement agencies or personnel also take the advantage of the situation of their own. So I basically see, this is a state where the government or the edifice of this structure doesn't exist. The government doesn't exist. It's in a completely lawless situation. And to say that we have put nakas and people cannot travel through the roads, what are you talking about? Look at the topography. Only the idiots will go through the main roads so that they are caught by the nakas. And in how many places can you put nakas? When insurgent groups roam around and have been roaming around for decades, are they using this kind of roads? Obviously not. So when the Manipur police says that we have imposed, barricades, nakas here and there, look, you do not control the swaths of the territories, where you can cross in any way. So,
Mr. Chakma, that there are unmanned territories in Manipur, are you saying that? That the swaths of area in Manipur are uncovered by security?
Absolutely. From one district to another district to go, or in the nearby areas. Is it necessary only to use the roads, motorable roads? Obviously not. How long the insurgent groups have been operating there? And are they using any motorable roads? Not, obviously not. So, these nakas, you are creating an impression as if it is in Delhi, it is in UP, it is in Punjab, where, you have to travel through this kind of, roads. You are talking about the tropical area, where insurgent groups have been active, across the northeast. I come from Tripura. We have seen the insurgency for a long period of time. All over the northeast, that's the way insurgent groups travel. So this is a scary situation. This is basically, as I have been saying from the beginning, we allowed, the Union of India allowed Manipur as a state fate. There is no government, and even today, the instructions of the government or the police officials do not go beyond their offices because the situation has not improved.
Okay.
And the protest by some of the groups shows that, community is also caught in a situation where you want to protect yourself. It's very easy to say you can give up arms, give back the arms, we'll catch the miscreant. You are not creating that situation where you can have 3 months or 6 months of peace through certain, measures. That is not taking place. So basically the state has failed. I mean, the government doesn't exist. For all practical purposes, the government doesn't exist. It exists only on papers.
Suhas, one thing is for the government not to exist. But I appreciate the fact that the Manipur police has been pretty honest in saying what has happened. But if this is happening in Imphal Valley, at the seat where the administrators sit, it is where in the Imphal Valley where every police officer or any officer
epicenter
worth
of Manipur administration.
epicenter of the Manipur administration is, and then you say that their rise in extortion. I think it says that the civic or civil administration has completely crumbled.
Oh, absolutely. Civil administration has crumbled. Please remember, Manipur or the Imphal Valley is the only region in entire South Asia which faced urban insurgency. Because Imphal Valley is in a way like any other urban centers. But please remember, the insurgency of the Métis against or with respect to their demands have been concentrated in the Imphal Valley.
I think that's a word you have used.
That is why you have to see that way.
There's a word you have used, Dr. Singh, Ramanand Singh. Do you agree that it's an urban insurgency?
Basically, the issues of current report of extortion and the other issues has to be looked into in different contexts. If you observe the overall 3 to 4 months, the issues was differently oriented towards some kind of ethnic conflict where the two communities are highly evaporated and highly volatile to each other. Now subsequently, from the beginning itself, there are the miscreants which are roaming around here and there in the looting of many insurgent items from the houses, which was also going on. But the police generally focus on prevention of the arm and the arresting of the people, defending of the incidents and so on. But they do not generally focus on this looting and arm and other things. Number one. Number two, the issue of the drugs was also be involved in this. During this whole period, you will find some reports of the arrest of people with the drugs also. There are miscreants which are going around beside all this. Number one. Number two. Number three, the one case is you are controlling the issues of violence between two communities. Another issue is now coming to the extortions by some kind of miscreant. So that look into a different context, and the police really need to find out what are these people. It should not mix with what is going on in the situations between two communities issues and this kind of the problem. The problems may be that taking advantage of the situations, that some of the miscreants they are coming out and trying to threaten the people and do the extortions in some way. So people, we really need to, police has to find out what is the reason and who are the people which are coming out in this way and try to do. One thing very important, since we all know from the last 4 months, the Manipur is totally in the massive situations. There is no law and order situation. Now, because of this, there are the things and some kind of product of this crisis, these extortions after so many years. I'm telling you, as Subhas has already have talked about, there was a time where the extortions and these were very common. But after maybe 10 years, after, I didn't find such cases very rarely. And now the police has disclosed these kind of cases. This is very, very worrisome, and police really need to take a step ahead to counter these kind of issues also, because if it is coming up,
Dr.
then
Ramanan,
we
before I
see
go to
another.
Mr. Dongal, I'll read out a report which has come by, which has been put out by another channel, but it says, the Manipur police has arrested 5 men for allegedly looting weapons from a police armory while wearing army uniforms on Saturday in the violence state. They were arrested. One of the men, identified as a 45-year-old former cadre of the banned insurgent outfit People's Liberation Army (PLA) of Manipur, has been booked under the National Security Act. NETV has reported it. My point is very simple. See, police is taking action, but I am interested in this metamorphosis, this transformation that has taken place in Valley. Mr. Dongal, why this transformation has taken place? Because if I recall, the argument a lot of people would give me was, this is taken for self-defense.
Absolutely.
That was the reason I was told for 120 days, that this has been taken for self-defense because they are being attacked. Now the same weapons are being used against the fellow civilians.
Yeah. This is a clear evidence that there is an involvement of the so-called banned terrorist groups, which were once upon a time taking safe havens in Myanmar, and now have found themselves their way back to the state of Manipur. Why I'm saying this is because if you closely observe the way the modus operandi that has been taking shape, that has unfolded since the time of the eruption of the violence, and today, 4 months and 5 months into the violence, you see the modus operandi has changed. And in fact, in a violence or otherwise in a conflict situation, certainly both the communities, both the warring parties certainly needs somebody to support. And today, as you view it, as I view it, I see the Meitei society to be highly non-egalitarian society. That means non-homogeneous in nature. Why I say this is because at the initial stage of the violence, we see most of them were, civilians, armed civilians, or otherwise crowds who would go to the peripheries, and then the clash would take place between the Kukis and the Kuki Joe and the Meiteis. But today you will find that thing is not the thing has changed. And you will also observe, if you examine very closely, how I believe that the stifling of the drug nexus that has been taking place in Manipur is now to a certain extent hijacked, in the sense the violence has now caused this nexus to be, to a certain extent, it has been disturbed. So you can see the flow of money, the flow of all these arms has been disturbed. Now that arms and ammunitions which were looted are now with the civilians, and we have also seen that, as I've said earlier, the entry of the banned terrorist groups in the valley. Today you see, as I've said, non-egalitarian nature, the violence needs support, and when there is no support, when there is no backing from the community, we can certainly conclude or say that this is all because of the inability of the Meitei society to come together.
Mr. Dongal, what I feel is, I think it's the inability of the state to get back the weapons. So as these people who ran away with the arms in the name of their own community have turned out to be the extortionists. They are the one who are threatening their own community. Yes, Mr. Singh, you want to come, then I'll go to Suhas.
Basically, that's why I told you, Kartikeya, we have to see the things in different contexts. We should not mix together the crises which are going on and the other the extortion case and other cases which are reported by the police. We have to see in a two different contexts. It may be a miscreant, as they have reported. Even police also in their press conference has already have mentioned that this should be looked in different contexts. It should not be mixed with. Mr. Dongal has already talked about differently acquisitions to the Meitei communities in other way. This should not be the case. There might be a possibility the miscreant which are coming out with some weapons and doing that kind of things. So these can be some kind of side products of the some peoples. The issue is not look into in one lens. We have to see into
Dr. Singh,
spectrum.
I differ from you here. You are saying side product and fringe. I think, it reflects the mainstream sentiment. You see, when the police officers say, can we play out that bite again, once again? Let's play out that bite again. Let's listen to that bite. Honestly, this is a police officer saying.
We have report from different valley districts of Manipur about the increased frequency of complaints relating to extortion demand and threat. In this context, the police, like I said before, we've been making multiple steps to curb it, and also take this advantage to appeal to the public to cooperate and support the effort made by Manipur police. And at the same time, we also appeal the public not to believe in information spread out through the social media without proper authentication.
Today's press note is basically to focus on the crimes that has increased over the past 1 month, especially the law and order breakdown in the state, not related to the ethnic clashes. We are seeing there's a spurge in, let us say, complaints of extortion and other crimes, of shootings, random shooting at general public. So we are addressing that concern today, and for that I'm sure we'll have another press conference later on.
Okay. Dr. Singh, now please go ahead.
Yeah, so this is what I am saying. We have to see into lens. One is the internet crisis issues where the firings going on by the volunteers and between two communities fighting. Another is the case which are rising up as per the report of the police. As you have to see in a two different way. One is the community extortion, which are totally illegal in nature and which are not acceptable by the society, and which really need to be taken care of by the police and the law maintaining the department. It has to be looked very carefully, because the Manipur has been known for extortion for many years, but from last 10 years we'll do not find much of these cases in the valley or in the hills in the state itself. Now here the such cases are coming up as per the report which are talking up. So you have to really need to find out what is the root cause and what is the person which are involving in this. And there are some mixing of these cases in some areas where some people are arrested, which are the voluntary village defense the volunteers, which was also arrested on the pretext of suspicious of having guns and others. So these two, if are mixed, then people have confusion, because which one is correct, which one is wrong. So one is if the volunteers are arrested, then people will come out to demand for release of the innocent people which are defending their own villages. And where those people who are miscreant, which are looting people, which are doing extortion, then that has to be very carefully taken up, because this will create another issues in Manipur, not only in this conflict. So that has to be looked into by the police department in the state. This is what I wanted to submit.
Mr. Swaz, you wanted to come in?
No, I just wanted to say, I don't think it has anything to do with the social structure of the Meiteis. I mean, I think that's a wrong conclusion. It has to do with one particular fact, that there is a vacuum. The vacuum is the absence of the state government, because the police, we are completely drawn into the conflict. That is why they have lost the weapons, or the ammunitions and etc. So when you have a vacuum and somebody has access to arms, it's natural that whether it's a local gunda or an insurgent or an ex-insurgent, these kind of elements will come up and operate on their own. They are operating because the state doesn't exist. If the state exists, if the police we are performing or we are able to perform the law and order situation enforcement, I don't think they would have been there. So these kind of groups which come up basically are product of vacuum of the administration. So that's why the key point is so long the state administration cannot enforce its own authority, this kind of incidents will continue to rise. It's not only of the Metis, it's any community, whether it's Metis.
But Mr. Chakma, the fact of the matter is that they are able to extort and put threat because they are still in possession of the weapon. Na? How can you extort and increase the level of threat if you don't possess the weapon? The fact is that there is weapon in the valley, na? Sab log,
Yes.
they ran away with the weapons. Now they have the tools to extort and threat. I think the bottom line
Absolutely.
is that. Tell me if I'm
Yes.
wrong.
No, you are absolutely right. So that's what I'm saying. The solution at the end of the day is the law enforcement mechanism in the state, and you cannot ensure or improve the situation unless you take specific security measures to return the or capture the arms which have been looted, and with respect to that no measure is being taken about because it's still a sensitive issue. And the fact that there are so many weapons and so many hundreds of thousands of ammunitions makes it extremely difficult. So even tomorrow, for example, the combing operations yet to be launched everywhere, and the state providing or the Union of India providing security, it is still going to be difficult because it is not necessary for people to keep their arms in their houses. So recovery of the arms, it will be a long run process.
No, not even
and long
recovery,
run
not only recovery of the ground. Let me just read this out to you. Manipur police has tweeted this 19 September at 9 p.m. Security forces dispersed crowds and removed roadblock. Congregation of crowd, roadblocks and closure of different establishments were reported at various locations at Imphal West, Imphal East, Bishnupur, Thoubal, Kakching, Jiribam district. District police and security forces fired tear gas shells to disperse the crowd and remove road blockage at various places. I am actually reading it out from the Twitter handle. These days a lot of facts, fiction can masquerade at facts. I keep it to the official handle. So which means the fact of the matter is that it's a shallow serenity, it's a shallow sense of law and order, Mr. Dongel. And this is happening in the
Yes, certainly.
in the valley.
Yeah, why I'm saying the involvement of the banned terrorists today is because if you look at the masquerading, the masquerading of miscreants in CDO uniforms and carrying out distortions. I say this because any normal civilian or otherwise a volunteer will not have the guts even to masquerade themselves in police uniform and start extortion, carry out extortion. That too in the heart of the Imphal, in the heart of the valley, where it is the main capital, where the head of administration sits. So it is not possible for a normal civilian. So I say this again because this is carried out in such a way that it is done by professionals and it is done by people who have already done this. And now to say that distortion has been taking place in Manipur since time immemorial or since even before
Mr. Dongal, I differ from you. Mr. Dongal, I differ from you when you use the word professionals. If you study any insurgency, the real degradation of law and order comes in when the people who are part of civil society, doctors, professors, lawyers, students, people selling tea, people selling coffee, food vendors, when they start carrying the weapons in name of honor, national security, women, self-preservation, that is when you call the full-blown civil war. That is when you call that the administration has melted away. If professionals are part of it, then it becomes a feud, sir. Then it becomes a fight between faction. What we witness in Manipur is complete crumbling of the administration where people from normal walk of life are carrying weapons. I remember my colleague was there a month ago, and he was interviewing that gentleman. Then he asked that gentleman, what were you doing a month ago? He said, I was a lawyer. And the second guy, he said, what did you used to do? He said, I had a bottle factory, and both of them had weapons. And I think the third guy interviewed, he said he was running some errand in Imphal Valley, doing some normal job, and all of them were weapons. So they are not special people, boss.
Kartikeya,
they are not special people.
There is also
normal people
agree,
become
I
like
agree,
this. That is where the
Let me
problem
come in,
is.
let me
But
come
there's
in,
also
let me
one
complete.
angle they say which we kind of overlook at times, is that there are three type of guns which are there. One which has been snatched away from security forces, police and barricades and all. One which is being smuggled across the border. The third one is the local country-made weapons, which is also of an equally high caliber, and one which is both ethnicities.
Brijesh, imagine
because
if we
our
are living
reporter,
in Noida and half of the 20% of the Noida is armed, and we are working in sector 125, and someone stops us at the petrol station and tells us, boss, jute utar do, and we say, why? Because that is how you'll go to your sector 50 house. This is what is happening. Because you are well armed.
The state, and more than well armed, I think the state is like it started by saying that that this particular we don't trust this particular force, we don't trust Manipur police. Now all of a sudden distrust is in everything that is official who is carrying arm, be it Manipur police, be it Indian Army, be it Assam Rifles, or be it anybody, and there is just zero crackdown. People masquerading.
In 1990s, it was a phrase, I think if I'm not wrong, coined by the NYT or WP. The Toyota wars of
Afghanistan.
North Africa, the Toyota wars, because they were using third-hand Toyotas there. This is a war of missing weapons. Manipur has actually become a war of missing weapons. The audit has to be out that where these weapons have gone. Weapons must have come from outside also, but it's a war of missing weapons. That is why he's a senior guy who's holding the press conference. He's saying that there's a case of extortion. There is a case of threat. Then there is a Manipur police tweet said that these many roads were blocked and jammed, and these roads are not blocked and jammed by people coming from Bangladesh or Myanmar. These roads are blocked and jammed by people living in flats there. These roads are not blocked and jammed. People are not coming from Ukhrul. They are not coming from Nagaland. They are not coming from Aizawl. This thing is happening there. It's being done by the people who are staying there. That is what is more worrisome. Yes, Mr. Dongal. I'll come to you,
Yes,
Dr. Singh.
I said, I totally agree with what you said. All that I'm saying is, I'm adding another dimension to the problem, how we should look at it. And the root cause of all this problem is coming back to the issue of AFSPA. The fact that AFSPA has been removed from 19 police stations that includes all the valley districts.
AFSPA. I think you have read the question. Mr. Dongal, you have read the question. This is the question I'm running, This is the question I'm running. It's a very democratic. This is the question. This is my question. I have put it out on my channel's chat. Should there be AFSPA? Should it be put in place and allow sort of a very intrusive action by Indian Army to remove all the weapons from Manipur so that the police can take over again? Dr. Singh, you wanted to come in?
Yeah. Kartikeya, very good questions to discuss, at this moment. I personally feel that the ASPA, you all know, the Manipur was, and even some areas is already under the ASPA, and the 19 police stations which is out of the ASPA. And we know what is ASPA. ASPA, according to the section 4 of the ASPA, they empower the personnel people to kill any innocent people on the suspicious of commission of the offense. So such kind of the wrong precedent should not be placed here. One should not think about bringing ASPA again to the valley area. If you look at for development concept and the trying to pull out of these issues. Because see, ASPA also violate the fundamental right article 21. So one has to look into where people talk
Dr. Singh,
about
if you
the
principally ask me,
issue.
Dr. Singh, if you principally ask me, I'm against ASPA. If you principally ask me, I'm against sedition law. If you principally ask me, I'm against anything, which questions habeas corpus. If you principally ask me, I'm against it. My whole issue is what should be done to demilitarize the valley. That's it. I'm using the word demilitarize. Take away the weapons.
Rom Obela, have done fasting for 16 years for this. Now, what my conclusion is,
And Dr.
Now,
Singh, I also
to
don't buy the
stop
argument just because there is a
crisis
SU agreement, the weapon should be allowed in the valley. SU agreement was done during 2008. There was a home minister sitting in Delhi. The government did it. The citizens didn't do that agreement. It was between the government of India and the military. It's a different ballgame.
I just wanted to bring the things. Now, because of these reasons and the issues we already have faced from many years, now to tackle this issue, the state police need to be empowered. There are the commandos, there are
okay, how can state
IRBs,
police be empowered? Dr. Singh, specific questions today. How can state police be empowered? It means that they need to be given more powers. It seems that you want more powers given to the state police and not to the army.
Yes, sir. Number one.
No, I'm not fighting with you. I'm just saying, you know.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you the.
I'm picking up the point. ASPA give more power to the army. You're saying more power to the police.
Now, police can be empowered to do now the routine works very effectively. Now you are saying the bunkers are made, they are broken, the people are not arrested. Why? Why the police? There are 30,000 police personnel are operating in Manipur. Why they are not being empowered? They should be.
No, Manipur police is doing a good job. I have no problem with Manipur police. Manipur police is doing a good job. I'm saying is Manipur police equipped to disarm people. You see, I am saying that do they have that wherewithal which army has? I don't think so. Army has that extra wherewithal. Army should do the job and hand it over to the Manipur police. I would say it like that. Okay, let's get it. Let's get Suhas. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, I don't think the imposition of AFSPA will resolve this situation simply because army in that situation will be operating in aid of civil administration, which will mean the local police officer will be commander in charge, and the army actually, as per law, has to take permission of that officer. So that because they are not an authority of their own, they will be in aid of the existing civil administration. That's one part. The second part is Manipur police has all the power. Nobody has taken away any power from the Manipur police. They can arrest, they can cordon and search, they can find weapons, there are FIRs registered, they can arrest everybody, and they are willing to do so if the Supreme Court is going to hit them. They are doing at that point of time. I think, unfortunately, where we are is that the situation in Manipur does not exist as far as the psyche of the media, apart from your channel and one or two web-based channels. And for most of the media, it doesn't exist. It's no longer an issue or pressing issue for the opposition. It's an issue for the government of the day. Unless and until you impose president's rule, where everybody is under the command of the central forces and continue the operations for a period of 6 months to 1 year, till then, if you don't do it, then this situation will continue. My fear is the center will not intervene till the next general elections, because the whole purpose of the aim remains to win the next election, at least 2 seats in Manipur. So they don't want to take the responsibility. They don't want to take the responsibility also, because if you are not able to bring the situation, then of course the Prime Minister and the Home Minister will be blamed for not being able to bring the situation under control. So let Manipur.
You know, Suhas, there is another thing. You know, Suhas, you know, you have been part of my show for a long time. If you look at the linearity of events in last 1 month, you know, the entire action is taking place within the valley. The entire action is taking place within the valley. If you just analyze it, you know, there is no reportage in context of the hill, and I am not here sitting in judgment like a pontiff, but the fact is the entire reportage is coming from valley. You know, the blockage, other things. You know, and if the valley can't come to normal, how will you get the hill areas to become normal? It's like saying if you have a problem in a place, first you get hold of the urban center and then you go to the periphery. Yes, Dr. Singh.
It's wrong to say that the whole incident is taking place.
I said now primarily the action is in valley, sir. I did not say whole. I said right now in last 30 days, primarily the action has moved to valley.
I'm telling you, people are still, the large section of the people are still in the relief camp. How can this will be? There is no solution. There is no normalcy. Then the people expect some kind of concrete action from the government. only then they will be stopped. People
But
are
you know,
dying.
this also
People
needs to be
are,
criticized. People expect a lot of things from the government of India, a lot of things from the government of Manipur, but they will burn tires. People are not cooperating. Let us also call fact a fact.
how
Now,
people
this is
will
not being
cooperate?
burnt. Who is burning this? Tell me.
If you give
Outsiders? Are these outsiders, sir? They are insiders. Insiders are blocking the road. Brijesh, are they outsiders?
Government should do the justice to them. Why their house are burned? Let them go back to their state. You deploy the office the army men and let them go to their own places and build their houses and feed them. There is no problem. If you are able to do it, then they will not doing this kind of the things on the road. So still, you are not doing anything. You are watching and doing nothing there. People will definitely come out. People do not have food to eat. People do not have
food to eat because there's a competition. There's a competition happening in Manipur. Sab log bat ke, they are blocking the roads. It's competitive politics. It's competitive justice.
No. I think I just have to say one thing: is that we cannot equate the responsibility of the civilians with the governments. The state has the sovereign power.
Absolutely.
The state's responsibility are different. So that's why I'm saying if this kind of burning is taking place, for whatever the reason, I think the key point is state is missing. So of course the civilians in any situation, because they are not organized, they will not take the lead to improve the situation. So the confidence to be built, the measures have to be taken by the state. So I'm not justifying the acts of the civilians, but I think the state itself, when it goes missing, then of course you have this kind of incidents. So in the entire process, what we have, either the central government is missing or the state government is missing. So when I say central government, state government, of course it includes the security forces, the security apparatus, the civil administration, hospital, doctors, whatsoever. So if we expect the people, exercise restraint so that, situation improve, no tire burning, no blockade,
No, political will is, Mr. Suhas, political will is saying, same party, the MLAs go and meet, the chief minister of an adjoining state. They have a meeting in Aizawl. It's the political will that is missing, boss. You can't persuade your own MLAs to come to Imphal and Manipur and attend one day assembly session. Political will is missing.
Absolutely. That is why I'm saying the central government and the state government are missing. And the MLAs are part of the administration. The MLAs are not different. MLAs belong to the ruling party.
It's so tough to get MLAs on here. It is so tough to get them on here. It's as if, they are parallel universe. I'm living in, that comic book of multiverse. Sometimes I feel that I'm part of a multiverse. There is one multiverse where I do the show on Manipur, and there is another multiverse, when I start taking care of other news flows in News9. Mr. Dongle.
Yeah, I'd like to reply to Dr. Ramadhan Singh. With due respect, we are all not okay with the imposition of APSPA in principle. But then, looking at the situation, the breakdown of law and order, and the state is not in a position to, bring in normalcy. And it's the only, the only hope that we had was the Indian Army and the president rule to come in and then impose APSPA. But then there is a hue and cry from the valley section saying that APSPA should not be this and that. We know the implications, the repercussions that APSPA would bring. Certainly, we are all aware of that. But we seem to be okay with APSPA in the hills. That's hypocritical, right? Hypocritical, right? APSPA is okay in the hills, but APSPA is not okay in the valley. Now, APSPA because in the hills you have the insurgent groups under suspension of operations. So there is no threat actually from the hills, but then we are still imposing APSPA, and that's why on the 4th of May that night, 3 people were killed because they were fired by the army personnel. Nobody wants APSPA, but then looking at the situation, the only roadmap to bringing normalcy is APSPA. That is the reason why we are saying impose APSPA in the valley, because people are taking advantage of the absence of APSPA. And secondly, Dr. Singh also said regarding empowering the Manipur police to be able to bring in law and order. Now it gives me this confusion. The fact that earlier we have also seen how 12 terrorists who were captured by the Indian Army were forced to release by the Meira Paibis in Manipur. Now, again, yes, let's empower the police today. The police have done their job amazingly, and they've arrested 5 people who were masquerading themselves and carrying out extortions. And now again, the Meira Paibis are again having mistrust on the police and fighting for those miscreants who are carrying out the extortion. So I'm in a state of confusion whether
someday,
empowering the army
someday,
or
Dr.
empowering the
Singh,
state personnel
Mr.
would
Dongle,
ever
your
bring
point,
in
someday someone will
normalcy.
have to write a book on this, that Meira Paibis, which had such beautiful contribution to the history of Manipur, somehow have become face of mobilization. Someday someone will write a paper on this. Why has this happened? They stand against the rampant use of alcohol in the society, drug addiction. I'm not like, they're not the vice and virtue wing of the Manipuri society, but something nice like a moral compass. But this moral compass is operating at a different level in Manipur. Someday someone should write a book on this, that what happened, why this divergence has taken place. Dr. Singh.
Yeah, I just respond to my responses to this 12 people who are arrested by the Assam Rifle was not handed over to the police on the record. It was, surrendered to the leader of that village. Why the Assam Rifle is not, surrendering the hand over that person? If you are claiming to be, they are the insurgent groups, they should, hand over to the police at that point of time. After that, Assam Rifle directly go to the media and saying all those narrative. The one thing I object. Number 2, Assam Rifle arrests 4 people from the Kakshing. One is already died. Why? What is the reason for it? He was beaten up by the Assam Rifle. Because of that, he was died. These kind of incidents are reality is there. That's why I opposed the Assam Rifle. See, in the Assam Rifle, why Assam Rifle are good for the hill? Because Assam Rifles having shoe with the insurgent groups of the hills. And it was secretly signed in 2005, not in 2008. It was without the knowledge of state government also. It was initiated in 2005.
Dr. Singh. UPA was in power. Dr. Manmohan Singh was in power. Dr. Manmohan Singh was in power 2005.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who was the chief minister in 2005?
Ibobi Singh.
Ibobi Singh, which party?
Congress party.
So how can you say that Ibobi Singh was not informed? Can this happen in the same party? Then I can question anything, Dr. Singh. Then I can question anything. This is next to impossible saying that this. Who knows? He took a very populist stand. Aap kar lijiye,
No.
but I will say mujhe bataye nahi. So many things happen in politics. Doesn't that happen?
Let me tell you on the record. Let me tell you, I have a document to show. There is a signed document in 2005 without the knowledge of the state government.
Okay.
Then after that, the
Dr.
state
Singh,
government.
when you are going to get that document, I am going to have a debate, sir. Because neither Ibobi Singh is sitting with me, neither Dr. Manmohan Singh, nor the IB director, nor the raw chief, who were part and parcel of it. I'll stick to the facts. Because today, our whole debate was focused on the press conference by the Manipur police, saying, boss, this is what has happened, this is what we have received, and we are going to work against it and break this. Suhazi, when they are saying that they're going to break this nexus, what is this issue of blocking roads, Because ultimately, this really just gets me. You can do your protest anywhere, but when you block road, you have people who have nothing to do with the insurgency or nothing to do with the conflict. There is a section of the society, and they are the one who end up buying costlier things. Education of children gets impacted. You don't get to access medical facilities, and you destroy the sense of normalcy, which is the most important thing for any state. Sense of normalcy.
Well, it's, how do I explain it? The best way to explain it would be trying to convince a buck.
That is why you are a security expert. Things. You can explain.
Yeah. No, I think what I'm trying to say is that, and still I think the emotions between the communities is very high. And one of the reasons why this blockades take place is not necessarily connected with the security situation which the police officer had explained. These actually have more to do with the ongoing conflict between the two communities, and the situation is still not under control. It has to do with supply of materials, vehicles, etc. So this blockades take place. I don't think they have anything to do with the arrest of 5 persons who are extorting. These are actually part of the other conflict which is between the two communities, and in a way everywhere. I think in the Northeast India, what I have seen from the time I was coming to Delhi to study in the 80s, the fear is always that there will be a Bandh, and you are just caught middle of nowhere for weeks without knowing when the roads will be opened up and etc. That has improved little bit, but I would say I think people you usually see in the Northeast that immediately something happens, you have a joint action committee.
And you know,
you immediately have
Suhas, someone just wrote on my YouTube thing. They said, you are discussing about all these things. Manipur has a long history of the word he used was highway hafta. Is it correct? Is it correct? Or someone just wrote to poke fun at me. He was telling me that you don't understand that this highway thing is a long running thing in Manipur. Is it correct?
Well, I mean, the other day I was talking to a cookie friend of mine in the Churachandpur area. Then one of the key problem was that, the way the officers in charge of the civil supplies to the people in the relief camp, there are certain contractors who are not going to supply to them because of the whole issue. So at every level, you have corruption. At every level, you have taxes, and in Nagaland earlier, there used to be taxes on, whole chicken, whether it's dressed up or not dressed up, and there are so many layers of taxes. It's unbelievable. Actually, we cannot even imagine sitting here.
So you're saying that the many layer of taxes, this highway tax is an old thing.
Absolutely. Yes.
Dr. Ramanan, is it an old thing?
Just one point.
So there is Suhas. So there is okay. Let me go to Suhas. Suhas, are you basically you are saying there is Samajwad when it comes to highway taxation? Every community participates.
Well, I mean, I have seen in the entire Northeast where insurgent groups are active, this kind of taxes are collected.
So there is a Samajwadi attitude.
The community.
So there is a Samajwadi
attitude, and in fact, because people have access to the arms now, collecting taxes, which the police are saying in their language extortion, is absolutely natural. It's absolutely natural. When I used to visit Manipur and we used to take up the maximum number of human rights violation cases from there, a government official had to pay, and everybody knew that they had to pay, including the army officers in certain cases for the safety and security of their
That's called parallel economy. Dr. Ramanan, correct? Yes.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with as Subhas has said, because in the many years back, maybe I can say 10 years ago, it was a normal situation where every government officers used to be pay the tax. Now, still, I would say the bus taxes are still going on. I am not talking about during this period. I am not because there are a lot of strikes and others. But it's a normal situation in Manipur. When you go to Nagaland, you go to Guwahati, is a normal, any kind of commercial vehicle or passing through hill areas, through any highways, there are a lot of demands for taxes. And
so you need extra pocket
not
money
on the record, I'm telling you, or not on record,
so you need extra pocket money when you travel.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they are giving 4 rupees for 4,000 or 40,000 taxes. You are getting receipt of only a nominal fees, because since you are trapped with government official and you can show only 4 rupees they have taken, but they will taken out 40,000 rupees from your pocket. So those kind of lot of things happens in Manipur. That is absolutely correct.
Okay, Mr. Dongal, is this correct? The highway tax?
It is correct, but then I like to differentiate between extortion and collection. Because there is another one distortion which we have recently witnessed in the valley, and also there is another one collected, which is more or less given out of consent actually from the individual. And to conclude my this thing on the recent topic of discussion, I see the Mera Paibi's role as today very confusing. The fact that they seem there was another video clip which went viral yesterday. I think you have not seen Kartikeya. The Mera Paibis are saying that.
You see, the reason why I don't take those
even
viral
after
videos is
the removal
because I cannot verify. So anything on my channel is not a viral video unless and until I can get verified by people on the spot that we had done it. This was taken at this particular point of time, and this particular thing was accounted for. I don't take those visuals. Anything which comes by the wire agencies or people who said that they themselves have shot, I'll take it. Nothing else. That's it's like violation of the government rules. Secondly,
it's unethical as well.
Who knows? It becomes unethical. Who knows? You become part of a propaganda.
Yeah,
there is so much of things flying around. I don't want fiction to fly around as fact. That is why. But I know these visuals tell the story. Yes, Mr. Dongle, go ahead.
You're not allowing to make complaint.
Please.
Yes, you're not allowing to make complaint. It is.
Don't get angry. I'll allow you. Don't get angry.
The video that I'm talking about is as equal as this video that is being displayed right now. And you see the Mera Paibi said very distinctly in front of the media that we are opposed to any sort of paramilitary forces, including the Assam Rifles.
Okay.
Now you see how yesterday again with the Manipur police they have an issue. So whom are they fighting for? What are they fighting for?
Okay.
It has become unclear. And I've heard that the Union Home Minister has said if we allow or if we can shut the Mera Paibis for 10 days, I think peace will return in Manipur. That's what I think. To buy.
I think that's your statement. My channel has nothing to do with what Home Minister has said. I'm not going to vouch for anything of that sort. But the most important thing is this really needs to come to an end. My force versus your force. Forces belong to the union government and the state of Manipur, and they should be treated equally and with respect. But they should also work within the conventions of the law and the custom of the place, as desired by the constitution of this country. But more important than that, at today's press conference which was done is something very worrying. Good thing is that the Manipur police, their briefings have become more frequent, they have become more rich, it's coming with a lot of depth, they are answering a lot of questions, they are picking up issues which journalists want to answer. But the roadblock and the extortion in Manipur must come to an end. This really reflects the Scrooge of unaccounted weapons. This wouldn't have happened if the weapons would have been accounted for in next 30 days. Suhas had been telling this for last 60 days. This is the reason why that people with immunity have been threatening people around.
इमरान अहमद खान नियाजी सबके दिल से हल्फ उठाता हूँ.
When Imran Khan came initially into politics, he thought his personal popularity would be sufficient for him. It didn't happen.
The retired military generals are openly saying that Imran Khan is a better choice. Imran Khan may